All right, guys, so watch this video for Wednesday, October 25th. Very narrow day in the SPY, closing about where it opened. Kind of a difficult day for me trading. I had my first red day in October, which I had said in the last couple of videos was probably coming anytime I start getting cocky and showing off my equity curve. I almost invariably pay for it. There were some really nice runners today, and I had some decent winning trades, but I had a couple lousy ones too. So anyway, ended up with a net red day. First one in October. I guess I can live with that. Trying to get right back on the green wagon tomorrow. So there's the SPY, IWM. I mean, they're both kind of basically hanging out near all-time highs, right? The watches I have for tomorrow, AMCX. You know what? You got just 3 sessions ago, this was 57 bucks, and now it's 52, down to some support, and it's gotten there in a hurry. I think it might be worth watching for a bounce play tomorrow. Plus, who doesn't love the thought of trading the channel that plays The Walking Dead, right? So anyway, I'm going to watch that one for a bounce. SNES had a big pop on Monday and kind of a quiet inside day today. Sometimes you get a third day play. That one goes on watch. IMMY, not in love with this one. Look how narrow the range was today, but you had this big pop. You've got a few lower highs now. Nice narrow range today. So this one might get going. I mean, it certainly traded massive volume on this day. I mean, well over 20 million shares. So it's hard to believe that in just a few sessions it's down to 361,000 shares. But that's one, if it gets going, they might pile in. So I think that's worth having on a chart. HMNY goes back on bounce watch today. Gapped up today and then engulfed yesterday. I mean, that's pretty ugly, right? No trades in it today, but I still think, if this can trade in a narrow range and then in the afternoon start hitting new highs for the day, you could have a nice trade. That's kind of the only thing I'm looking for in this one. Because that is quite the unwind, right? From whatever it was, $4 to almost 40, all the way back down to 12 in a pretty short period of time. Certainly worth watching for a bounce, though, the rest of the week. SRAX, a nice inside day today, decent volume, looking for some follow through tomorrow. Daily chart's holding up pretty well. NEOT goes back on bounce watch. I called this long right here today. As it was getting this volume. It pulled back on lower volume and then ripped again and had resistance at 120. Ended up closing at 110. I don't know. I'm not in love with this one. It did hit the 8-day. You had kind of that indecision candle, so you had all these down candles, and it might be ready to turn back up. Let's look at it on 15s real quick. Yeah, I mean, I'm not in love with it. I guess if it holds above a buck, it might get a secondary rip one of these days. I mean, this was a huge rip. I'll go back to the daily to show it to you. This was a huge rip that it gapped up. It opened at 84 cents and went almost to $2, right? So this is definitely worth watching if it can get some upside momentum. That is NEOT. Let's go to ADHD. Nice reversal today. Closing close to its highs. I'm going to look for that bounce to continue tomorrow. Dry ships, again, you can't use the daily chart on this one. There it is on 60s. Let me pan out a little bit more. So you had the gap up here. This huge kind of cup and handle, and it actually took out the highs of this gap up day, which was over 423. Let me go to, like, say 5 minutes candles now. So over 423, that was yesterday. And I gave a few trade ideas in this one yesterday, and all of them worked for anyone that took them. A pretty nice move. Then today it sells off on pretty good volume, but you know what? Look at that. Comes right back up to near the high of day. So I still like this one. If I had to give any kind of catalyst based on this chart, I would say over today's high, over 414, it might retest yesterday's high. You know what? If I zoom way in, we might be able to, yeah, there. If we zoom way in, we can get all that nonsense out of there. So that, if this takes out 414, then you have another potential catalyst of 446, and you're up into that gap. So I do like dry ships, believe it or not. And I haven't said that in a long time, but it's interesting to me. All right, let's go back to the daily and go to DELT. I'll pan out a little bit, give you a better look at this thing. So I've been watching this one, and I kind of took my eyes off it because it's just, I don't know, it didn't have much volume, but this volume spike here, see how it was a bigger volume day, and this one here too. So it is interesting to me. Let's see, today's high was 158, it closed at 149. You can tell how thin it is, right, looking at these candles. This is one of those I call maybe a sleeper pick. It certainly looks good over this $1.60 area, and I do like the kind of extra volume it's getting, but that is definitely a sleeper pick. It's not really getting enough volume to make me super interested in it. XNET we had on Bounce Watch for today. I'll show you the intraday. It opened and just ripped right out of the gate. I don't ever chase that, and so it never gave me any kind of a setup. Then it grinds lower. This is kind of indicative of how today was with a lot of stocks. You get the initial rip. So if you buy this anywhere in the first few minutes up here thinking it's going to go, then you're probably selling down here. Then maybe you get involved again, say, okay, now it's going to go, and then it comes in here and does nothing for hours, and then grinds. It's just what I call goofy action. But when you switch to the daily, the way I look at this is huge run. Sellers came in big time, big volume on the selling, and then right back up. So this is the only way to look at this is a very strong stock. See if it gives us a low risk setup tomorrow. A few more. BONT, huge rip today. I think they secured financing or something. Maybe a red to green in that one tomorrow. That was a huge move. ATOS, another huge move, closing fairly close to its highs, I guess. Worth watching for a red to green. And lastly, I've got TLRD. You kind of have a cup and handle here, and today a bit of a breakout. So we'll see if we get a red to green in that one too. All right, so that's the list, and we'll add some gappers in the morning, and hopefully I'll have a better day than I did today. All right, have a good night. See everybody tomorrow.